Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Danielle, and on this channel we create the lives that we want, we create the lives that we deserve, and we style our own lives through smart and logical decision making, through our own power and divinity. Today I want to talk about low self-esteem and how it can really hinder you on this journey that we call life, on this journey of leveling up, on this journey of really creating the lives that we want. Having low self-esteem can be very detrimental to your progress on whatever journey that you're on. And so I really want to tackle this topic today so that we can get an understanding to maybe nip in the bud some behaviors that can be a roadblock for us. Please consider subscribing if you like what I have to say during this video, or if you want to stay tuned to future videos, if you want to know when I post up new videos, consider hitting the notification button too. Definitely comment in the comment section so that you can be a part of the discussion. One of the first things that I want to do is first of all, we're going to break down what low self-esteem is. By doing that, I want to start by defining esteem. So esteem is respect and admiration. If you have low self-esteem, that means you have low amounts of respect and admiration for yourself, and that can really affect the way you make decisions, the decisions that you make, the reasons why you make them. That can affect many and most areas of your life, and it can really put a damper on your progress in whatever journey that you're on. A lot of us do have low self-esteem. Now, personally, I don't think I've ever really experienced having low self-esteem. I'm more self-conscious, and consciousness is about being aware. So I'm more so aware of maybe things that I don't like about myself, or things that I want to change, or things that I perceive to be flaws. So I think of it as that, not so much as having low self-esteem. I'm sure at some point in my life I've had low self-esteem, especially, I don't know, in being a teenager or something like that. But I've always had a good grip on myself and who I am, and being comfortable with my abilities or not. But I've also been quite aware of things that I deem as character flaws, or just things that I would prefer to be tweaked in some way. Now, low self-esteem can definitely stem from childhood. It can stem from a relationship. It can stem from abuse. It can stem from so many different things. So it's really on us to want to actively choose to do the work to fix the things about us that we want to fix, and to adjust the way we see ourselves. Shift from a space where you have low self-esteem to a place where you have high self-esteem, to a place where you are aware of your flaws, but at the same time you know that you have the power to fix them. Or if you actively choose to not fix them, then that's your choice, and you learn to be happy and content with that. Low self-esteem really will affect your ability. It'll affect you at work. It'll affect the way you date. It'll affect the way you interact with any human being, and your relationships with your parents, and your relationships with your friends, and your relationship with your significant others. It can really affect the way you make decisions. A lot of the time, low self-esteem is what causes us to be in poor places in our lives and to remain there. Sometimes the poor places in our lives aren't always, we were born into certain circumstances and born into situations that were totally out of our control. But there comes a time in our lives where we have to we have to take control of our own life, and we have to understand that we have the power to manifest any and everything that we want. That'll only happen if we choose to do it. Low self-esteem essentially affects the way you view yourself. It affects the way you respect yourself, and in turn it will affect the way you allow other people to treat you. And that is what we want to talk about as well today. When you suffer from low self-esteem for whatever reason, you know, sometimes you allow yourself to be succumb to abuse. You allow yourself to be succumb to manipulation, to disrespect in any form, no matter how large or how small. And so we really have to be able to get ourselves in a space to understand that we deserve better by any means necessary. Even if this person may bring some kind of perceived value to your life, if it's costing you your self-esteem, if it's costing you your confidence, which is essentially costing you a better life, you need to figure out how to get rid of it. We all have had to do it, including myself. Everything that we are, our lives, for the most part, especially as adults at a certain age, are a sum total of our experiences, and it's a sum total of our choices. And at any given time, you can choose better, you can choose different, and you can choose to start to style your life in a way that is acceptable for you and that will create happiness in your life. Sometimes we end up in situations where, you know, we allow people to just linger in our lives way longer than they should have. And you know, a lot of the times we know better. I am very, very guilty of this, and I am speaking from a place of experience. Sometimes it could be our own ego, and we allow people to stay, whether it's, for me, it was, you know what, I want to make sure I'm doing everything that I can. I think that I have the power. I'm such a control freak. I'm such a Virgo, da 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 da. I think I can just mold anybody into a better person. Absolutely not. This journey that we call life is ever growing, and you will grow and grow and grow. There will never come a point where you're like, okay, I'm the best that I can be and I can't get any better. We really need to work on, really sit with yourself and figure out what it is that you have low self-esteem about. Why do you have low self-esteem? Sometimes we stay in relationships because we don't think we can get any better. Whether it's because you're overweight, whether it's because you've been abused before, whether it's because people have told you you're ugly, whether it's because people have told you you're dark, whether it's because people have told you you're undesirable. Whatever the case is, we have to learn to work through these things. And the first way to do that is to learn what really affects us, what affects you, what triggers you, so that you can learn to work on the things that trigger you. Sort of like low self-esteem, self-consciousness is about knowledge. Consciousness is about having knowledge and about awareness. So self-consciousness would be about knowledge of self, awareness of self. If you're the things that you may be self-conscious about, like for me, one of the things that I am guilty of being self-conscious about is my weight. And so I understood, you know, long time ago, that this made me self-conscious. You know, I've lost a ton of weight before and gained it all back and then some. This journey of, you know, weight loss that I'm on now is very different than the previous ones. You know, I'm working on different things now. I know that I have the ability to lose the weight because I've done it before. And so what I'm doing now is working on my mind, working on my self-discipline. And that's something a lot of us struggle with. We don't want to admit it, but we struggle with self-discipline, including myself right now. A lot of us struggle with the ability to keep up with something and to be consistent. And in my opinion, being self-conscious is not as bad as having low self-esteem. Being self-conscious is just being in a place where you're conscious of the things that you don't like about yourself. Now you have to choose to do something about it that can improve that situation. What I really want everyone to really understand is that even myself, because a lot of the things that I say, I'm talking to myself too. If we don't mold the things things that we're self-conscious about, then it can really start to fester and turn into low self-esteem. So I even like to think of it as self-consciousness is like maybe a few steps before low self-esteem. Self-consciousness is, especially fervent self-consciousness and especially, you know, constant self-consciousness, it can eventually turn into low self-esteem if you don't do anything about it, or if you choose not to do anything about it. If you like, listen, I'm overweight and listen, I'm not gonna lose weight, I'm not going to the gym, I'm not changing the way I'm eating, I'm not gonna stop eating McDonald's, I'm not gonna stop eating Wendy's. If you know, and you're happy with it, but you change your mindset, seriously change your mindset, then it won't affect you as much. But for many of us, if we don't mold our self-esteem, if we don't shape our self-consciousness, next thing you know, you will have low self-esteem. You will be allowing men to treat you any kind of way. You will be allowing people to talk to you any kind of way. You will allow people to treat you any kind of way. You know, you will accept any and everything because you think that you can't get any better. So low self-esteem really affects our day-to-day lives. It affects our ability to create. It affects our ability to put on clothes. When you have low self-esteem and when you suffer from low self-esteem, that can eventually turn to depression. So, you know, self-consciousness can turn to low self-esteem. Low self-esteem can turn to depression, and it's just a whole mental stew that is negative and very counterproductive. And so what I really want us to get is that we need to start working on ourselves. Start recognizing the areas that trigger us. Start recognizing when we are operating from a place of low self-esteem and desperation, or whatever you want to call it, because those are the things that really affect our day-to-day abilities to be happy and to manifest and to style the lives that we want. I want to thank you all so much for tuning into this video. Please put your comments down below on your thoughts on low self-esteem. People, you know, those of us who may have suffered from it and gotten over it, or those of us who have any tips on how to do better, please share with us. This was just a brief video discussing how low self-esteem can really affect our lives. You know, I'll talk about later things that you can do to raise your self-esteem and to get yourself out of that funk. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you feel compelled. I would really appreciate it. Hit the notification bell if you want to know when I upload new videos. I'm going to hit the ground running for show in 2021. I love you guys, and I will see you all in the next video.